Hey guys, and welcome back to another chit chat video. For real, I just wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about January in general and how the month has been very heavy and very overwhelming, at least to me. I don't know about you guys, but just wanted to chat about that and see where you guys' heads are at. So I have my tea here that I'm drinking just to warm me up because it snowed the other day. And can we talk about how everybody was just going crazy about this whole snow, talking about, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a whole like blizzard basically, and we got about a foot of snow, maybe two. It was a thing. It was a thing. But we're here, we're healthy, and we're, I guess, thriving, I guess you could say, or trying. But yeah, let's talk about January and how the month has been extremely heavy, extremely overwhelming for, I feel like, a lot of us. Starting with the new year, right? When you go through social media, you see a lot of people telling you how you can be well for the new year. You have a bunch of different influencers and just people in general talking about how you have to be well, you have to do all of these things to prepare yourself for the new year, as if one day in the calendar is going to make you become a whole brand new person. We have people talking about, a rebrand. We have people talking about your health and how you can do your fitness journey better and bigger this year. You have a bunch of different people speaking to you, talking about all the things that you need to do going into the new year. And in reality, sometimes all of that noise can feel so extra to the point where you just shut down. And I low key felt myself going through that in the beginning of the year because I was looking at everybody and what they were doing on social media. You can't really avoid it, especially when you're in the space and you're a creator as well. You just kind of tune into all of it and you're like, oh my gosh, should I be making content about this? Oh my gosh, should I be preparing myself for the new year the same way that they are? What can I do to better myself? To maybe match them in some type of way, shape, or form. And at the end of the day, you can't please everybody if you're trying to focus on yourself. You can't do everything for everybody else when you're trying to be better for yourself. And so for me, when I was seeing all of that, I was sitting here like, oh my gosh, am I behind in life? Am I behind in prepping for the new year? Am I behind on my goals? And you just can't help but compare yourself to all these people, right? So, just here to talk to you guys about that because if you felt that way, then you're not alone at all. Because let's be for real, how many of us have felt that way going into the new year every single year? Whether you actually had a great year in 2025 or not, you can't help but to just sit there and compare yourself to all of these people who basically have their lives together. But in reality, what I try to remind myself of is that these folks are creating content and we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, meaning that we're only seeing just what they want us to see. And I want you to keep that in mind whenever you're watching anybody. And that was one thing that I kept reminding myself of because going into the new year, my birthday was like 3 days within, well, 4 days within the new year. And I was here like trying to figure out how it is that I'm going to celebrate, especially after the holidays and everything. Like, I truly hate having a birthday right after the holidays. It's very overwhelming, like I said before, with, Christmas, you just celebrated that. The holidays, people spent all of their money on gifts and things like that. And then New Year comes and everybody's preparing for the new year, new me, and all this and all that. And then right after that, my birthday comes and it's just like, you're basically an afterthought. And I never really truly enjoy celebrating my birthday around that time, I guess you could say. But regardless, no choice, right? I can't change my birthday. So this year, what I realized, again, something that I did for myself is tune into my own idea of what it is that I personally want to do, regardless of everybody else and what they wanted to do and what they thought that you should do for your birthday. So I just chilled. I didn't plan anything. And I truly enjoyed that. And I truly liked just not trying to make everything perfect, which is something that I've been really working on over, I guess, the past couple of years, where I am a perfectionist. I want things how I want them. I want everything to go as planned. But you realize that in life, there's only so much planning you could do, right? So, what I did was what I did last year. I left everything up to my boyfriend. Okay. You can plan the day out. The beginning of the day, I personally wanted to go to a pole dancing class, so I did that for myself because I've been wanting to try pole dancing for so long, and I was like, you know what, it's time. Why not? So I did that for myself, and I truly enjoyed that class so much. I cannot explain it to you. It was just so much fun, so different than anything that I've done before. So it was just like, okay, starting the year off on a positive energy where I'm doing these things for myself, not for anybody else. Truly don't care what anybody else have to say about what I'm doing, who I'm doing with, how I'm celebrating my birthday. Because at the end of the day, it is my birthday, so I can decide what I want to do. So we did that, and then my boyfriend planned out a very chill little dinner, and I got cute and went out, and it was fun, it was nice, it was super relaxing, it wasn't overwhelming. It was my day, and it was enjoyable to my own standards as opposed to what everybody else's standards were. So there was that. And then on top of that, there was just a lot going on. There is a lot going on with ICE and the president and everything that is happening. It just feels like everything is heavy, and we have to be extra careful with what we say, whether it's on social media, whether it's somebody that we know, all types of things. We have to be cautious with everything, even with our phones. It's like you constantly, I don't know about everybody else, but I constantly feel like I am being monitored. And being a foreigner and an immigrant in general, it feels like you're a target in a way because of just who you are and where you were raised. So when I was getting all of these thoughts and these ideas, what I said was, what I need a book. I need to read. I need to like calm my nerves and just get away from all the nonsense, from all of the things happening around us. So I have this book, right, that I bought myself um for Christmas. It is The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah. And I personally enjoyed one of her, I say two of her other books. I can't remember the second one, but I read The Four Winds, I believe is the name. And I'm telling you, I was bawling my eyeballs out when I was reading that book several times. It was so emotional, but it was so relatable because sitting down and reading that book, I remember thinking about my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and everything that they went through being immigrants and traveling from one place to another, and having to figure out how they're going to feed their children themselves, how they're going to cope with, having to learn a new language, and how to just go about life every single day being in a new land where you don't know the people, you don't know the things around you, you don't know the rules, and you're just getting acquainted with all of that, but you're also an adult. And so that book reminded me a lot of them and their journey and what they went through being foreigners in America, and them trying to figure all of that out. And it had me super emotional. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kristen Hannah, I need to read all your other books. So when I saw this at TJ Maxx, I was like, I need to have it. So I bought this for myself, right? And I said, you know what? I'll put it aside and I'll read it when I'm ready. Cool. So I picked this book, and I didn't know that it was about the war in Paris and how oh my gosh, and how people were being targeted, and how um being a Jew was just like all the things about history that we learned. The Germans were taking over France. I started reading this, and I'm telling you that I have cried at least 3 times so far. It's crazy because I randomly picked this out, not truly knowing that it was going to be so relatable to the current moment that we're in right now, with ICE and the president and people being targeted and the immigrants being killed, and just anybody having to, I guess, feel like they're a target in a way. And I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but if you really stop and think about what's going on right now in the world and how, you know, anybody's getting shot and murdered, then you're being affected as well, whether you want to really admit it or not. So I started reading this and I was super emotional about the whole message behind it, and seeing how people are having different experiences throughout this journey, whether it's a mother or a sister or a kid, and how they're all being affected but in different ways, right? The main person in the book, well, there are two main people in the book. They're sisters, and being an eldest sister, I believe her name is Vianne. It could be Vianne, I don't know, but I'm gonna say Vianne. Um, she's an older sister and a mother at that, and she's struggling with her husband being sent away to war and having to care for her daughter. But at the same time, now she is experiencing having to protect her sister in the sense that her sister came to live with her, and her sister, Isabel, is one that just doesn't conform. Okay, she does not want to just accept the fact that Germany's taking over France and they just have to follow the rules, which honestly I can relate to her in so many different ways, because personally I don't feel like I need to listen to a lot of things just because you say that they are this and they are that, right? Especially in war, and especially in difficult times that we're in right now, where people are constantly being targeted. They're constantly being unfair towards immigrants, and it's just like, what in the world is wrong with you? What happened to your humanity? And reading this, I got super emotional so many different times, and their experiences are just like, wow, this applies to this current moment right now in so many different ways. And I remember that I was trying to get away from all of that, but regardless, here we are with this book, reading it, enjoying it a lot, but also connecting so much and feeling like I have not just an escape, but a way to learn that I'm not really in control of everything happening. And there's a quote in the book that I wanted to share with you guys. I have a picture here to help me as my bookmark. You find bookmarks all around your house, honestly. Anything can be used as a bookmark, but I was keeping that in there to help me find the page. So this woman, Vianne, was going through a lot, and she did something unknowingly that affected a lot of people around her. And so she was struggling with the idea of, should I tell them what I did? Should I not? And all the things. And so she went to church looking for some answers as to what she should do. And so when she was talking to one of the sisters of the church, I don't remember the name, but the sister said this to her, and I thought it was a quote that is kind of helpful with my feelings and how I personally feel right now in this moment, right? Sister said, "You're not alone and you're not the one in charge. Ask for help when you need it and give help when you can." I think that is how we serve God and each other and ourselves in times as dark as these. And when I read this, I was like, wow, that spoke to me on so many different levels, because again, I have been feeling so overwhelmed with January and everything happening, especially with ICE and being an immigrant and having immigrant family members and all the things, right? Not that we're here illegally, but that doesn't matter obviously if you pay attention to what's happening. So being a foreigner in general, I'm here like, oh my gosh, what can I do? What can I do to help people? What can I do to help prevent this from happening to me? Prevent this from happening to the foreigners that I know, the immigrants that I know, all the things, right? And that quote spoke to me on so many different levels, because in my head, I felt like I was responsible in some way, shape, or form, which is crazy to think about. But regardless, that's how I felt. And that reminded me that I am just one little person, and I don't have to feel responsible for all and every single person around me that's an immigrant, because we all have our lives to live at the end of the day. We all have things that we're going through day to day that either may prevent us from doing the things that we truly want to do, but also maybe push us to do the things that we want to do. And again, being a foreigner, I'm like, what can I do in this moment? What can I do to help these people? How can I speak up? What can I do in general? And I remember going through so many different social media um, accounts and seeing what like can I do. Um, Even earlier today, I saw that there is a page on Instagram where you can send out emails to your senators and things like that to have them take the whole thing serious about, I don't know, like I truly don't know. And the thing is, I'm trying to educate myself on all of this, and it's just so hard to do that because they make it so difficult because they want everybody to shut the fuck up and just accept what is happening as if people are not being murdered. And the thing that's very mind blowing to me is the simple fact that you have no rights. At the end of the day, we have all of these rights according to the government or whatever, right? But in times like this, it's like they were thrown out the window. They're non existent. What do you mean you're going into somebody's home and dragging them out and then finding out that they're a US citizen? How does that make sense? In my brain, you have to be good at your job for you to actually have that job. And it doesn't make sense for you to go and raid somebody's home, break down their door, drag them out in their underwear, an old person at that, right? And then finding out that they're a US citizen. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It truly does not make sense at all to me, because why didn't you take the initiative to do this beforehand to find out if he was a citizen or not? That, in my opinion, is the basic part of your job. Like it truly is. It's the basic thing that you can do just to find out if this person is illegal or not, which is, the whole point of you going and taking all these people from their homes, taking these children away from their families and all this and all that. Like, okay. So you're not doing the bare minimum of just checking their citizenship status. Does that make sense? It doesn't. It truly doesn't. But on top of that, right, you have people who are just simply trying to defend others, the whole right to bear arms. Okay, cool. You legally went through the process and you have a firearm, which is supposed to help protect you in all of these things. And you have a person, a US citizen, who was just shot and murdered in broad daylight. It's just because they were defending somebody, not because they did anything illegal, not because they actually fired at an ICE agent, not because they were doing anything wrong. It was just them existing, just them trying to protest, which again is a right that we have. But again, all of that is out the window. Okay. But what I'm seeing also is that all of these people are getting excuses made for them, right? They're talking about how, oh, they were scared for their lives. They were doing their jobs and people were not letting them. Like, okay, let's be logical about this, right? They were scared for their lives. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. I understand that. You were scared for your life. Imagine those people that you're targeting. How do you think they feel? Do you think that they're not scared for their lives? Hence why they're acting the way they're acting, trying to get away, with you having shot and murdered several other people, with you having detained people that you weren't even supposed to detain in the first place, kids, ripping them away from their families, husbands, wives, and everything. And imagine, right? You're doing all of this. You're taking these people away from their homes and everything. Okay, cool. They're illegal, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Okay. Let's not even touch on the simple fact that's not humane at all. It really isn't. Where are these people going? Where are they going? What is happening to these people? Where are they going? Are they being actually sent back to their countries? Because there's no proof of that whatsoever. I don't see any coverage on that. I don't see anything about ICE. You can see a lot of stuff about ICE, right? You'll see a lot of information on the internet about how they're shooting this, they're shooting that, and they're doing their job, and they were protecting themselves and all these things. But where are these people going? Where is the proof that they're actually being sent back to their country? Think about that. And so I am here like this book, the time that we're in right now, we're repeating the same exact things over and over and over again. We're going through the same process of people being raided in their homes, being separated from their families, taken away to God knows where, possibly being executed. And all we have to do is keep living as if this is not happening, as if this is not true. And then we have a person who's defending this, who's supporting this, who actually is the person that initiated this. Mind blowing, right? And I remember also seeing something about how these people, ICE agents, are also stealing from the same people that they're targeting, meaning they're taking their properties away. The whole time, all you're supposed to be doing is taking them away from their homes since they're illegal and sending them back to their countries. But how in the world is it okay for you to strip them of their whole identity in the process of doing all of that? Mind you, these people's faces are covered. And I feel like if you have to cover your face in the act of doing any of these things, then you personally know that there is something wrong with what you're doing. Because a lot of times people cover their faces when they're committing crimes, when they're committing heinous things towards each other. Like people, they go rob places, they put a mask on. People go and do a drive by, they put masks on, right? They're doing these things because they don't want to be identified, because they know the repercussions of their actions. So now people are asking that ICE agents leave their faces uncovered. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair to ask for it, because why do you not want to be identified? Why are you scared of being targets of something if what you're doing is right? I also don't understand the reason as to why these agents have to carry firearms in the first place. The illegal immigrants, I have not seen a single one that have carried a firearm, that have been violent even, or have even defended themselves by using lethal force at all. If anything, it's the other way around. And it's just like, oh, okay. From my understanding, as a law enforcement officer, you have to go through a whole bunch of process for you to obtain a firearm, for you to legally have a firearm and be able to operate it and be able to carry it around and be able to go and do your due, right? And it doesn't feel like these agents went through all of that at all. It's just like, oh, you're an ICE agent, and you could carry this gun. For what possible reason? Why are we defending this? Why are we supporting this? I do not get it. All of these were running through my head throughout the month of January, which has been super long. Excuse me, what is happening? Why has the month felt so long? It felt like it's been happening for 6+ weeks. But yeah, that was something heavy on my heart that's been sitting there, and that's been like, I feel like I need to speak about it to somebody, to something, to, I don't know, I need to express myself in some way, shape, or form, because these are thoughts that I feel like are very clouding to me, and they're affecting me. Honestly, I am a foreigner, I am an immigrant, I am a legal US citizen. However, I am still an immigrant, and my family are immigrants. And the thought of being affected by something like this is scary. It is very scary to think that you can go outside and potentially not come home just because you are a foreigner. It's as simple as that. And even as a US citizen, you have to think about that as well, because once again, how many of them have they shot? Like, how many people have they just pulled out of their cars and murdered just because, claiming that they did it because they were scared of their lives? So we all, I don't know what we have to do, but we got to do some, because it's been a year. This man has been in office for a year. 1 year. We have 3 more to go. and I cannot imagine what's going to happen within the next 3 years or so. Something needs to be done. And I don't know what, I don't know who, I don't know how, but having read this, I'm not finished with it yet. I'm about halfway through, and I honestly don't know where this is headed at all. This is so complex. This is so heartbreaking, heart wrenching, and so relatable to the current situation that I'm just like, oh my gosh. But I am hoping and praying that it ends on a positive note. But it's opening my eyes to a lot. It's opening my eyes to how humanity can be cruel to each other, and we can continue the cycle on so many different levels and in so many different ways. It's just because somebody's different from us. It's been happening for years. It's been happening for generations. It's been happening constantly over the past, shoot, I don't know how long, okay? But it's been happening, and something needs to be done, because what exactly is the reason that we see somebody as less than just because they're different than us? At the end of the day, nobody can replicate us. We cannot, we're all unique in some way, shape, or form. Just because somebody's white, somebody's black, that does not mean that anybody's less than. We eat the same way, we shit the same way, we, like, come on, let's be for real. And so, if you're going through any of this yourself and you felt like January has been heavy, just know that you're not alone. Just know that a lot of us have been going through those emotions, and we're taking it one day at a time. But again, I'm leaving you with that quote. I remember the page on here. I'm going to read it for you guys one more time. Right here, it says, "You're not alone, and you're not the one in charge." This is a reminder for myself, honestly, because yeah. Um, Ask for help when you need it and give help when you can. I think that is how we serve God and each other and ourselves in times as dark as these. Keep that near your heart, whatever it is that you gotta do. If you need to ask for help, if you can provide help in some way, shape, or form, find it in your heart to do so, because we're all going through it. And regardless of whether you want to accept it or not, if you're part of MAGA or not, we're all being affected right now in some way, shape, or form, whether you want to admit it or not. So think about, put yourself in those immigrants' shoes. Think of yourself as a child being separated from their home. What could possibly be done to help that child? As a parent, being that person to see your child being ripped away from you, think about that. If you have a child, if you have a sister, if you yourself, how would you feel right now? And I don't want you to think about whether, oh my gosh, I'm not an illegal immigrant. I'm not an immigrant at all. I am, this is my country and this and whatever you feel, right? Whatever you are. Think about your place right now on this earth, your home, your apartment, your whatever, wherever you live, okay? Think about this. If you were in your home right now, you have not committed a crime, you have not hurt anybody, none of that, and you were being taken away from your home, from your loved ones, from all that you know, how would you feel? You would be scared. You'd be terrified. You wouldn't know what to do or any of that. Imagine that as a child. Imagine that as just a human being in general who's lived in this country and know this country better than they know their own life. Because let's be for real, after a certain amount of time has passed, you being away from your home country, you're disconnected. You don't know the life there. You're acquainted to something new, and that is here now. So the idea of being sent back to something that you don't know and having to deal with the unknown is something that is very unfair. Think about that. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for listening to me and my little rant about how January has been super heavy. and let me know how you're dealing. And hopefully that quote helps you in some way, shape, or form and helps you understand that you're not alone and help you move on through the rest of the year with a little bit of peace, knowing that you're not alone. Oh my gosh, it feels like I'm gonna cry. And something good will happen at some point. That's what I keep telling myself, and I hope you to, I hope you tell yourself that too, because what can you do? All right, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you and talk to you in the next chit chat. Until then, bye.